took surfing lessons on our honeymoon, but I fell in love with the charming instructor. But then, hello Reddit, I can't believe I'm actually typing this out, but here I am, using a throwaway account for anonymity because, well, some of my friends know my main account, and I'd rather not have them stumbling across this. My name is Jenna, and I'm 25 years old. My husband is Derek, and he's 24. We've been together for about 5 years and recently got married, which is something we'd both been really excited about. Derek is, without a doubt, one of the best things that's ever happened to me. He's kind, understanding, financially secure, the whole package. Honestly, I don't think there's anything more I could ask for in a partner. And up until a few days ago, I thought I appreciated him fully. I thought nothing could shake the love I have for him. But then, I met Rick. Rick is our surfing instructor, and before you roll your eyes or start judging me too harshly, please just hear me out. Up until I met him, I was confident in my love for Derek. I was secure in the life we were building together. But something changed when I met Rick, something I can't quite explain. Derek and I are currently on our honeymoon, a trip we've both been looking forward to for what feels like forever. We're in a place we've always dreamed of visiting, somewhere beautiful and serene. I'm not going to share the exact location because, like I said, I want to keep this anonymous. But just know, it's one of those destinations people fantasize about. We both have a mild interest in surfing, and we decided that while we were here, we'd finally take the plunge and get some lessons. It seemed like a great idea, something fun we could do together. And it was, at first. But then we met Rick. Rick is, well, he's something else. He's handsome, charming, and so unbelievably kind. I don't know how it happened, but I found myself falling for him. And now I'm in this strange, confusing place where I feel like I've lost all interest in my husband. I know that sounds horrible. I know it does. And I hate that I'm even saying it. But it's the truth. I don't know how to tell Derek. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm betraying him just by thinking these things, but I can't help it. I'm so lost and confused, and I know this makes me sound like the worst person ever, but please, if you can, try not to judge me too harshly. I didn't plan for this to happen. I didn't want it to happen, but it did, and now I have no idea where to go from here. Update. Hey Reddit. Wow, where do I even start? I mean, I expected the hate comments, the insults, the judgment, I really did. But expecting something and actually experiencing it are two very different things, I'll give you that. The sheer volume of it, the intensity, it's overwhelming. And yeah, I got hated on a lot. You all are calling me crazy, a cheater, and all kinds of other things. I get it. It's not like I don't understand why. But just to clarify, Rick and I haven't actually done anything. We haven't crossed that line. But that doesn't mean there isn't something between us. I know it's wrong, and I know how this all sounds, but Rick, he's just so amazing. I can't even begin to explain it in a way that would make sense to anyone else. But I love Rick. I know how stupid that sounds. I know it's fast, and maybe it's even reckless, but I just can't help myself. During our surfing lessons, I found myself focusing on Rick more than I do on Derek. It's like Derek doesn't even exist when Rick is around. I feel horrible just typing that out, but it's the truth. My attention is completely absorbed by Rick, and I can't stop it. It's gotten to the point where I've started to distance myself from Derek. I think he's beginning to notice, and it scares me. I don't want to hurt him. He's an incredible person, and anyone would be lucky to have him. But I just don't think I can keep going like this. The other day, Rick and I went out for coffee, just the two of us. It wasn't supposed to be anything serious, just a casual meetup. But the tension between us, it was palpable. I could feel it, and I know he could too. It's obvious that he feels something for me as well, but Derek is the thing that makes this situation so complicated. I'm torn because I don't want to cheat. I really don't. But at the same time, I feel this overwhelming urge to be with Rick. I've been trying to give Rick a sign, something subtle, to let him know how I feel without actually saying it. But every time I think about it, I'm filled with guilt. I'm trapped in this cycle of wanting something I shouldn't and feeling terrible about it. And all I can think about is Rick. He's on my mind constantly, and it's eating me up inside. I'm absolutely in love with him, and I have no idea what to do. I never imagined, I'd be in a situation like this, and now that I am, I'm completely lost. I know what you all must think of me, and maybe you're right. Maybe I am crazy. But these feelings are real, and I don't know how to make them go away. I'm stuck in this emotional mess, and I'm terrified of what might happen next. Update. Hey Reddit, a mini update. I know, it's so stupid. All of you are judging me, hating on me, calling me every name in the book, yet you still want updates. It's kind of ironic, isn't it? But you know what? This feels like an outlet for me, and that's why I keep doing it, despite all the negativity. I don't have anyone else to talk to. Not my friends, not my family, no one. I can't talk to my friends because I know they'll all take Derek's side. They'll blame me, call me the bad guy, and they'll definitely tell Derek. I can't even begin to imagine how that would go. And my family? It's the same thing. They've always liked Derek more than me anyway. Heck, sometimes I think they'd disown me before they'd ever turn against him. So here I am, clinging to the anonymity of the internet, pouring my heart out to strangers because I have nowhere else to turn. As for what's been going on, well, there's not much of an update. But Rick and I have been hanging out a lot lately. We've gone out for coffee a few more times, watched a movie together, just little things like that. I know what you're thinking, and yeah, it's wrong, but I can't help it. I'm drawn to him in a way that I've never been drawn to anyone, not even Derek. Derek's been sad that I'm not spending as much time with him lately. He's noticed the distance, the way I've been pulling away. I told him I need some space, which isn't exactly a lie. But he doesn't know the whole truth. He doesn't know that I've been spending that time with Rick. And I know he wouldn't like it if he did. That's why I haven't told him. It's not technically lying, right? I mean, I did tell him I was going out. I just didn't mention that I'd be with someone, and that someone happens to be our surfing instructor. So yeah, Rick and I have been hanging out more and more, and the tension between us, it's been growing. It's almost unbearable at this point. When we went to the movies the other night, we held hands. I know. It's like I'm crossing all these lines I swore I never would. We even almost kissed. It was just so intense, so charged with emotion, and I was so close to just letting it happen. But I stopped myself. Barely. I want to tell Derek everything. I want to come clean, to tell him that I'm done, that this marriage isn't working for me anymore. But how do I do that? How do I look him in the eye and shatter the life we've been building together? We were so excited for this honeymoon, for this new chapter in our lives. And now, I'm the one who's going to cut it all short. I feel horrible, like I'm betraying everything we've worked for, but at the same time, I can't deny what I feel for Rick. I can't pretend that these feelings don't exist, that they aren't real. And they're not going away, no matter how much I wish they would. So here I am, stuck between what I know is right and what my heart is screaming at me to do. Update. Hey Reddit. It's been about a week since I last updated. I'm sorry for the silence. It's been a busy week, and honestly, I've been a bit overwhelmed. But I do have a lot to share, so here goes. First of all, Derek has started talking about going back home. We initially planned to spend 3 weeks here on our honeymoon, which, to be honest, was already quite a long time. But now we've been here for over 4 weeks, and Derek is ready to return to our normal lives. He's mentioned it a few times, and I've been doing everything I can to convince him to stay longer. I know it's confusing to him. Hell, it's even confusing to me, but I've been telling him that I've fallen in love with this place, and that I'm just not ready to leave yet. It's not like we can't afford it. I'm a stay-at-home wife, but Derek has a business, and Derek's business is doing well. He has the flexibility to stay away as long as we like. Our life back home is pretty stable, and there's no real urgency to return. So I keep pushing, suggesting that we just stay a little longer, enjoy this time together. But the truth is, it's not the place I don't want to leave. It's Rick. I haven't told Derek that, of course. I haven't told him that the real reason I want to stay is because I can't bear the thought of leaving Rick behind. The thought of going back to our regular lives, pretending that everything is fine, that I'm still the same person who left home 3 weeks ago, it's unbearable. And then, well, I guess a lot of you saw this coming. Rick and I finally crossed the line. I wish I could say I'm surprised, but deep down, I think I knew this was inevitable. As I mentioned in my last post, we'd been hanging out more and more, talking and texting constantly. The chemistry between us was undeniable, and the more time we spent together, the more I found myself falling for him. So yeah, it happened. He invited me over to his house, and despite knowing exactly where it might lead, I went. I could try to justify it, to say that I was confused or that I wasn't thinking clearly. But the truth is, I knew what I was doing. I crossed the line, and I regret it. But what I regret even more is how much I liked it. We had sex. There it is. I'm a horrible person, I know. Go ahead, judge me, I deserve it. But I can't change what happened, and now I'm left to deal with the fallout. I feel like I've completely lost myself. It's one thing to love someone else while you're in a committed relationship, but to actually cross that line, to betray the person you vowed to spend your life with, it's something else entirely. I don't know how to make any of this make sense to you guys or even to myself. I feel scared, confused, and so incredibly guilty. I want to come clean to Derek. I know I need to. I can't keep living this lie, pretending that everything is fine when it's not. But how do I tell him? How do I break his heart? Tell him that the person he loves isn't the person he thought she was. Derek doesn't want to listen to me when I talk about staying here longer, and I know he's getting frustrated. So I think I'm going to have to come clean. I think I need to tell him the truth, that he has to go back home without me, that I'm staying here with Rick. I don't know how he'll take it. I don't know how any of this will go, but I can't keep living this double life. I need to make a choice, and I think I've already made it. Wish me luck, Reddit. I'm going to need it. Update. Hello, Reddit. It's me again. I wanted to answer a few questions that some of you have been asking, or rather address a few points that a lot of you have brought up. One of the biggest things I've seen is people pointing out that I'm literally a stay-at-home wife and that I would be completely stranded without Derek. Trust me, I've thought about that. But I promise you all, I won't be stranded. I have savings, so I'm not going to be totally lost. I know it's easy to assume that I've made a reckless decision without any thought for the consequences, but I've planned for this, at least financially. A lot of you also said that I'm setting myself up for failure, that I've ruined my marriage, and that I'll regret it. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'll look back on this one day and wonder what the hell I was thinking. But maybe I won't. The truth is, I can't ignore this feeling. I can't pretend it doesn't exist, and trust me, I've tried. I've tried to push it down, to focus on Derek and our life together, but it keeps coming back. It's like this nagging, persistent thing that just won't go away, no matter how hard I try to shove it aside. Anyway, I finally talked to Derek about everything. It went well. Well, it didn't go very well, but it didn't go as badly as I was expecting either. He got angry, which of course I understand. He has every right to be. Anyone would be angry if they were in his shoes. So, no, I'm not judging him for that. When I first told him, I think he thought I was joking. He kind of laughed it off at first, but when he saw my face and realized how serious I was, he lost it. He got really angry, like the kind of anger where you can't even find the words. He just stormed out of the hotel room, slamming the door behind him. He didn't come back until the next day. I spent that entire night pacing around, my heart pounding, wondering what he was going to do, what I was going to do. I barely slept. I kept replaying our conversation in my head, over and over, trying to figure out if there was something I could have said differently, if I could have done anything to make it less painful for him. But the truth is, there wasn't. It was going to hurt no matter what I said, and I think I knew that deep down. When he finally came back the next morning, he was cold. He didn't say much, just packed a few things and told me he had called my parents and our friends. I was mortified. I mean, I expected him to be angry, but I didn't expect him to tell everyone. I've had to turn off my phone because in the span of an hour, I got nearly 20 calls. It's like everyone suddenly has something to say to me, something they need to get off their chest. I know they're all going to side with Derek, and I don't blame them, but I can't deal with it right now. I've had to block everyone just to get a minute of peace. I'm avoiding it because I don't even know what to say to them. How do I explain this to my parents? To my friends? I can't. So yeah, that's where things stand right now. Derek came back, but he's not talking to me. He wouldn't let us finish the conversation and just went about his stuff like I wasn't even there. He's been so rigid and stoic, barely even looking at me. It's like he's a completely different person now. I'm probably going to have to leave soon. I think he's leaving too, especially since I saw him packing up his luggage earlier today. I don't want to spend money on a hotel, so I'll probably have to move in with Rick. I haven't told him that yet, so it's still just a possibility, but it seems like the only option right now. I don't know how this is all going to play out, but I'll keep you guys posted. Update. Hey Reddit, it's me again. I'm feeling kind of sad right now, so I thought I'd come on here to share what's been going on. First of all, I couldn't move in with Rick like I thought I might be able to. Unfortunately, he lives with his parents and siblings, so there's just no room for me. It would be super awkward too, which is the last thing either of us needs right now. When I told him about how things had finally come to a head between me and Derek, he wasn't surprised. He said that anyone would be angry in that situation, and he totally understood why Derek reacted the way he did. He wasn't judgmental about it or anything, just understanding. So, yeah. To be honest, I haven't read any of the comments on my last post yet because I already know how bad they're going to be. I'm not ready for that level of negativity right now. Maybe later, when I'm feeling a little stronger, I'll mentally arm myself and dive into the comments. But for now, I'm just trying to get through each day without letting everything weigh me down too much. Also, Derek. He's left. He's really gone. I watched him pack his things, and now the room feels so empty without him. I know I made this decision, and I know I should have expected this, but it still hurts. I feel kind of sad about it, like there's this empty space inside me that wasn't there before. I miss him a bit, which is strange considering everything that's happened. I guess it's only natural though, right? We spent so much time together, and just because I've chosen a different path doesn't mean those feelings vanish overnight. But at the same time, I'm happy to be with Rick. It's been a few days now, and we've been spending a lot of time together just exploring the area, talking about everything and nothing. It feels good to be around him, like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I would have preferred moving in with him, honestly, so I didn't have to cover the cost of a hotel room. But it's not that much, and I know Rick would let me stay with him if he could. So, I'm just making do with what I've got for now. So, yeah, that's about it. Just wanted to update you guys on what's been going on. It's been a lot to process, and I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about everything. Thanks for sticking with me through all of this, even if you don't agree with my choices. I'll check in again soon. Update.
Hey Reddit.
Mini update here because I talked to my mom today, and I'm so angry right now. I'm writing this to calm myself down since Rick isn't around to help with that. I finally decided to unblock just my mom so I could FaceTime her. I'm still keeping my friends and my dad blocked because I know how judgmental they can be, and honestly, my mom is the lesser evil out of all of them. But wow, that conversation did not go well. She was so angry, rightfully so, I suppose, from her perspective. The first thing she asked was if I had a brain tumor or something because she couldn't understand why I would do this. She kept asking if I was thinking properly, like I wasn't in my right mind or something. It felt like she couldn't even recognize me anymore. And honestly, the more I tried to explain to her how I felt about Rick, the more confused she became. It was like we were speaking two different languages. She kept telling me that I was throwing away my entire life, my whole relationship and marriage with Derek, just to be with someone I barely knew. And yeah, I told her straight up that yes, that's exactly what I'm doing because it feels like the right choice for me. That seemed to set her off even more. She was so angry, but more than that, she was disappointed. I could hear it in her voice and see it in her face. It was like she was mourning the future she thought I was supposed to have. Then she told me Derek's planning to file for summary divorce as we meet all the requirements. And honestly, that's fine by me. I don't care. I'm done with him. I mean, I would have liked for us to remain friends, but I know that's not something he would ever want, and I can't blame him for that. So, yeah, it's whatever at this point. I've made my choice, and I'm sticking to it. The conversation ended on a really bad note, though. My mom told me not to talk to her or my dad until I had come to my senses. And you know what? That's very fine by me. If they can't accept what I've chosen for myself, then maybe it's better that we don't talk for a while. It sucks, but I'd rather deal with their silence than their constant judgment. So that's where things are at right now. I'm angry, hurt, and honestly, a little relieved. I know it's not going to be easy, but I'm ready to face whatever comes next. I made my bed, so I'll lie on it. Update. Hey Reddit, it's me again, and I'm feeling absolutely distraught right now. I don't even know where to begin, but I feel like I've just been duped. Big time. The more time that passes, the clearer it becomes, and honestly, I'm starting to panic. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of "I told you so" comments and a barrage of criticism for what I'm about to share. You're probably going to say I've set myself up for failure and that I've ruined my marriage, and maybe you're right. But right now, I really need help, and if admitting how stupid I've been is the price for that, then so be it. So here it is. I gave Rick all of my savings. Yeah, I know how that sounds. Really, really stupid. But hear me out. At the time, it didn't seem like a bad idea. I had already paid for the hotel room for a few weeks in advance, so I didn't have any immediate need for the money. Rick told me he had this opportunity he needed to invest in, something that would bring in a lot of profit, and he promised me that I'd get my money back in less than 2 weeks. He even said that with the money, since things are cheaper over here, we could put down a down payment on a house and finally move in together. It sounded like a great idea, a way for us to start our life together, you know? But now, it's been a week and some days, and I haven't heard a word from Rick. It's not even the 2 weeks he promised yet, but I have this horrible, sinking feeling in my stomach that I've been duped. Normally, Rick and I couldn't go a day without talking, but now it's been over a week, and he's completely ghosted me. He hasn't responded to any of my messages, and when I tried calling him, I realized he's blocked me everywhere, and that's when it hit me. I know almost nothing about Rick. I don't know any of his friends or family members in person. I don't even know where he lives. How could I have been so blind? I was so caught up in the excitement, in the idea of being with him, that I didn't stop to think about how little I actually knew about this man I thought I was in love with. At first, I was just confused, trying to make sense of everything, but now that the reality is sinking in, I can't stop crying. I feel so stupid, so ashamed, and I have no idea what to do next. I paid for a few weeks at the hotel, so I guess I'll wait out the 2 weeks and see if he stays true to his word. But honestly, I'm not holding my breath. I just don't know what to do, Reddit. I've never felt so lost in my entire life. If anyone has any advice, I'd really appreciate it right now. Update. Hey Reddit, it's me again. I've been reading through the comments, and I can't say I'm surprised by the responses I got on my last post. A lot of you bashed me, and yeah, I know I deserve it. I'm not here to complain about that. A lot of you called me stupid, and you're right, I was stupid. I should have been more cautious, asked more questions, and sought more information from Rick. But honestly, I trusted him so much that I didn't even think about it. And now, it's all come back to bite me in the face. Many of you advised me to wait the full 2 weeks and then go to the police if I still hadn't heard anything from Rick. That's exactly what I did. I waited it out, hoping against hope that maybe, just maybe, he'd come through. But when the 2 weeks were up and I still hadn't heard from him, I knew I had to take action. So I went to the police station. The first thing I noticed when I got there was how unreliable the police here are. They didn't seem to take me seriously at first. I was just another case to them, another person with a sob story. But after some persistence, they finally agreed to look into it and tracked Rick down. Here's where things took a turn I didn't see coming. Rick completely turned the tables on me. He told the police a totally different story, one that painted him as the victim. According to him, I had given him the money to pay for his little sister's hospital bills, and there was no mention of him ever needing to pay me back. The police relayed this to me, and I was horrified. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I didn't talk to Rick about the money on the phone or in messages, and the only messages I do have are of me asking him when he's going to pay me back. But the police said that wasn't enough proof. They told me that without solid evidence, it was my word against his, and that we might have to go to court and let a judge decide. I was shocked, absolutely horrified. I couldn't believe what was happening. But what choice did I have? I agreed to go to court if it came to that. And then, as if things couldn't get any worse, Rick had the audacity to unblock me and berate me for going to the police. He kept insisting that I had given him the money for his sister's hospital bills, that I never asked for it back, and that he was shocked, that I'd gone to the police. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This was someone I thought I knew, someone I trusted enough to give up everything for. I cursed him out, told him that he was lying, and that if he wanted to go to court, then fine, we would go to court. But after I hung up, I broke down completely. This is someone I literally gave up my whole life for. I left Derek, ruined everything with him for this scumbag who's now trying to gaslight me into believing I'm the one in the wrong. I feel so betrayed, so stupid, and so lost. I tried calling my parents, but they wouldn't pick up. I've left them messages, telling them that I've come to my senses and begging them to let me come home. But they haven't replied, and I don't know what to do. I've thought about reaching out to Derek, but the shame and embarrassment are eating me alive. How do I even begin to face him after everything I've done? I feel like I've burned every bridge I ever had, and now I'm standing here alone with nothing left. So Reddit, what do I do? How do I even begin to pick up the pieces after all of this? I'm lost, and I could really use some advice. Update. Hey Reddit. It's been a while since I last updated, and I apologize for the silence. It's been a few weeks, and I've been trying to settle back in at home. Honestly, I'm not sure what I would have done without my parents' help. The money I had put down at the hotel was about to expire, and I didn't have any way to pay for another stay. I was staring down the prospect of being kicked out, with nowhere to go and nowhere to turn. My parents finally picked up when I called them. We FaceTimed, and I completely broke down in front of them. I cried and told them everything about Rick, the money, the lies, and the mess I had gotten myself into. I felt so ashamed, and the weight of it all came crashing down as I spoke. My mom, while visibly disappointed, was also quite smug. She reminded me over and over that she had warned me, that I should have listened. They told me they'd pay for a return ticket home, but only on the condition that I came back immediately. They were firm about me forgetting Rick and the money. They said it was time to come back, leave everything behind, and start over. I agreed right away. I was completely out of options. I didn't know what I would have done if I had stayed there longer. I was broke, alone in a foreign country, and with no immediate plan for survival. I had no choice but to accept their offer. My parents sent me the money for the ticket, and I came back home. Once I was back, I blocked and deleted Rick's number from everything. I needed to sever that part of my life completely. Now I'm back with my parents, and it's been far from easy. They can't stop rubbing in the fact that they were right all along. They're disappointed, and I understand. They've made it clear that they're only going to let me stay with them for a while. After that, I need to find a job and get back on my feet. They remind me regularly that I brought this on myself, that I need to face the consequences of my choices. I'm disappointed in myself too. I feel like I've failed in every possible way. It's hard to come to terms with how I ended up back at my parents' house, a place I thought I'd never return to. I feel like I've messed everything up, and I'm struggling with a deep sense of regret and self-loathing. It's a tough situation, and I'm trying to navigate through it, but it's been incredibly tough. I'm trying to figure out my next steps, how to rebuild my life, and how to move forward from this mess. Update. Hey Reddit, it's been months since my last update, and I'm really sorry for disappearing. The comments on my previous posts were overwhelming, and honestly, they hit home more than I anticipated. I needed some time to process everything, and it's been a rough period. So, here's where things stand now. If you remember, I mentioned that Derek was considering filing for a summary divorce. Well, he did. The divorce is finalized, and we've officially parted ways. The process was straightforward since we had no debts or significant assets to split. I didn't get anything out of it, and honestly, that's the least of my concerns right now. What's been incredibly painful is how my parents are handling everything. They're constantly rubbing the situation in my face. Derek has a new girlfriend, and my parents have been making it a point to invite Derek and his new partner over for dinner at our place. I have to sit there and pretend like I'm okay with it, which is incredibly difficult. I have to sit there and watch them gushing about how amazing Derek's new girlfriend is, how beautiful she is, and it's just too much to handle. I can't escape their constant comparisons and their passive-aggressive comments about how much better she is. I've tried to talk to my parents about how I'm feeling, but every time I bring it up, they shut me down immediately. They keep saying that Derek is like family to them, almost like the son they never had. They insist that nothing, not even our divorce, will change how they feel about him. Whenever I try to express my hurt or frustration, they brush me off. They tell me I shouldn't complain or bring it up, especially since they believe I brought all of this upon myself. It's like they've completely taken Derek's side and refused to acknowledge my pain or regret. I feel completely isolated and unsupported. It's very hard to deal with this, especially when the people who are supposed to be there for me are instead making me feel worse. I miss Derek terribly. I regret everything that happened with Rick and the choices I made. I've tried to reach out to Derek to talk things through, but he has shut me down every time. I suspect that my parents might have shared some details about what Rick did to me, which might have affected Derek's view of me. I'm not sure, but it feels like he's moved on and is happier without me. I've also been actively looking for a job since moving back in with my parents, but the job market right now is incredibly tough. Most available positions are for minimum wage, which I'm really not interested in. I've been trying to find something in my field, but opportunities seem scarce, and it's been really disheartening. I'm starting to feel a bit hopeless about finding a decent job anytime soon. If anyone has any advice or suggestions on how to navigate the job market, I'd really appreciate it. Right now, I'm feeling confused, distraught, and lost. I don't know what to do next or how to move forward. My parents' behavior and the reminder of how I've messed up my life are just making everything harder. I wanted to give you all this final update as you followed my story and offered so much advice.